You wanna?
Don't you dare insult me, okay?
Mama Angel.
Don't you dare.
Haya, kwani nipita? Nini wewe? Yaani wataka kumpiga. Huwezi mpika mpige nini?
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Black people rise up, God knows.
Search is over, and it starts with me. Some people got hopes and dreams. Some people have hopes and dreams. And the strength and the power to just be the glory. The most I go before us, protect us from the enemy.
Channel 1.
Let me answer that, Father. She wasn't alone in this. She just hatched the plan. There was someone else involved who executed it.
Who was the person to take away the box? Who was it?
Queen Mother Helena and Siama. There is only one such person around who can sympathize with the Greeks. And that person is Queen Mother Helena.
A very good morning to you. Thank you so much for creating time for us. In case you're joining us, this is a News Check, a program that seeks to explore issues that are current and are shaping conversation in the country and beyond. This particular morning, on this 24th day of March 2021, a lot indeed is happening in the country and in our neighboring countries as well. And outside the country of Tanzania, where there is a season of mourning that is ongoing today, a lot is happening there. And in studio, that will form part of our conversation on News Check. We are going to be talking about women and politics. We know that just the other day, following the demise of former Tanzanian President Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, Samia Suluhu Hassan was sworn in as the president to take over his position, a woman who has served in various capacities, not just in Tanzania, but in the East African community. Her taking over office as the president, adding on to the list of the few women who have had the opportunity to serve in very high positions in the continent, has shaped a lot of conversation across the country and even in other regions. And we're going to be talking about her, and of course also just talking about what this means for the future of women leadership in this particular continent. But that will come later. I want us first of all to just bring you up to speed with the latest in our neighboring country, Tanzania. As we speak this particular morning, the body of the late President Dr. John Pombe Magufuli today is taken to Mwanza, and this is actually just to give a chance to the residents of Mwanza to pay their last respects. Of course, this is coming just a day after the residents of Zanzibar also had a chance to view the body and pay their last respects yesterday. We saw that ceremony that was conducted, and we brought it live here for you on KBC Channel 1. Of course, there has been quite a chronology of events panning out from the time that he died on the 17th of March this particular year, following what has been termed as heart-related conditions, heart-related complications. On March 20th, the body was received by Lugari Military Hospital, then St. Peter's Catholic Church in Dar es Salaam, and then it proceeded to the Uhuru Stadium for Tanzanians to have a chance to pay their last respect. On March 21st, members of the public also had a chance to view the body. We saw that a very big gathering at Uhuru Stadium in Dar es Salaam, Tanzania. On March 22nd, his body was flown to Dodoma for the residents to pay their last respects, and also that was a public holiday in that particular country. On March 23rd, the body was taken to Zanzibar, like I told you yesterday. And of course today, a lot is going to be focusing around Mwanza, and this is just for, you know, it's just coming at a few days, because he's going to be buried on Friday, a few days before that burial ceremony takes place. So this is just sort of taking him closer home. On the 25th of March, family and members of the public will pay their last respect. This is in Chato. And then finally, on March 26th, that will be the day that the whole continent, the whole East African community, and the people of Tanzania will be sending off the late President, Dr. John Pombe Magufuli. Of course, this will happen in Chato, where he's going to be buried on Friday. So that is currently happening this particular morning. As you can see there, the body is in Mwanza, and we are going to be just making sure that we give you regular updates on what is happening ahead of the burial arrangements that are actually happening in Tanzania. But that has actually shaped a lot of conversation following especially the swearing in of Samia Suluhu Hassan, who actually now has the opportunity to serve as the president of Tanzania. And she took office on the 19th of March this particular year, after the death of Dr. John Pombe Magufuli. And she becomes Tanzania's first female vice president and the president, of course, having served as the vice president when they were elected together with Dr. John Pombe Magufuli. We'll be talking more about what this means for women and leadership, and even just looking at our Kenyan context to see what lessons we can borrow, what trends we are reading, and of course, what is it we can be able to do to allow women to thrive in leadership positions, of course, including other matters right here on News Check. My name is Serfine Achieng Ouma, and our sign language interpreter is Lucy Mwaura. Of course, on the program, we always also give you a chance to have regular updates on what is happening in Kenya's capital, Nairobi, and other parts of the country. And this is what we have for you. This is what our reporters are following up for you this particular morning. We have our reporter's diary now. All right, so welcome back, and thank you so much. Of course, that is what we have for you lined up on the program. We'll be taking you, in between the program, we'll be taking you to some of these events as they happen. And of course, we'll also be having a very important conversation this particular morning concerning some of those issues that are shaping the news in the country. Also following in very closely on the burial arrangements of former Tanzania President Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, who died on the 17th of March this particular year from heart complications. And of course, we'll be telling you more about what is happening in Tanzania, a man that has been celebrated by not just the residents of Tanzania, but of course even residents who are coming from different countries, especially in the East African community, and leaders who had an opportunity to serve with him in various capacities. Of course, we will be giving you details about that, but we have a lot happening, you know, in the continent, especially following what followed after the death of Dr. John Pombe Magufuli. We saw Samia Suluhu Hassan. Many know her as Samia Suluhu. Suluhu is the third female head of government of an East African country. That's Tanzania, the third. In the entire East African community, only 3 women have had an opportunity to serve in very senior positions, such as the one she's sitting at right now. She took office on March 19th, 2021, after the death of Dr. John Pombe Magufuli. And before you know, she became president, she served as the vice president of that particular country. And of course, this was following the 2015 general election, and then they were re-elected together with Dr. John Pombe Magufuli for their second term in the year 2020. So I told you she's among the only 3 female women who have served in that high position. So it's forming a lot of, many people have discussed this in various capacities. Of course, her taking office is under very different circumstances, not a nomination, not an election, but that is just something for another day. But it actually just presents another opportunity for us to discuss and dissect how we have treated the journey of women leadership in this continent, in this country. And that is what we want to talk about this morning. And joining me to have that very important conversation, I'm having a panel of 2. It's a lady and a gentleman, and I'm so glad I'm having a gentleman on this panel to talk about this issue, because many a times we're talking about women leadership. It's always women talking about women leadership. I like the fact that you're here, Fred. Fred Okango is the Secretary General of Third Way Alliance Party. Thank you so much for creating time. And of course, we have Gloria Oroba. Gloria is a youth policy analyst, and of course, she is in the in this journey we are talking about, women and leadership, women and politics. She's vying for Bobasi constituency in Kisii County. Thank you so much, Gloria, for creating time. Thank you so much, Fred.
Thank you for having us.
All right. I'd like very quickly to get also your comment, because the moment after Suluhu was sworn in as president, people had mixed reactions. People had, you know, you sort of had an opportunity to give their views about this. I'd like also just to hear both a cocktail of your opinion about her becoming the president and what is ahead for her as a woman to lead that particular country in a continent that the ratio of men vis-a-vis women having such powerful positions has not been very, you know, balanced. Let me just begin there. I'll start with you, Fred.
Thank you, Serfine. First of all, I appreciate your invitation, even though today I'm the minority. While you're talking about women being minority, but on this panel I'm the minority. But with that as it may, I appreciate. I also recognize that today it could be, you know, an orange, do you call it Orange Tuesday?
Pink.
It's pink. You see, now again, a minority in color.
You see, where did orange come from? But
So,
it's okay.
so it's okay. No, I think it is not by chance that Her Excellency Madam Suluhu became the president of Jumuiya Tanzania. It is not by design, but that is what their constitution requires of them should a vacancy arise in the office of the president. And to that extent, she is now the serving president of Tanzania. And we wish her well as a community. And may the soul of John Pombe Magufuli rest in peace, even as they struggle to come to terms with the death of their beloved president. However, the Global Sustainable Development Goal number 5, which is a UN requirement, requires that there shall be gender equity and empowerment of girls and women. That global goal number 5 is global as it states, and it requires of all institutions, all governments, all departments, because the women have been seen as a weaker sex. The women have been viewed as people who are not capable. But if you look at developing countries, today they are struggling to ensure that they place women in a position of leadership and create an environment that can enable Gloria and the team of other women occupy positions of power because they are suitable, capable, and competent enough, and they have been empowered enough. The only thing that the women of the world have been lacking is opportunity, and we must create those opportunities, not only by accidents or death, but by design and intentional. And that's why I am very glad today that we are starting to see a situation where we could be having women presidents in Africa and in East Africa. I listened to the story of Her Excellency Madam Suluhu Hassan. She started as a very junior officer in Chama cha Mapinduzi, a very junior officer. In fact, when she was narrating a story while she was still the VP, she said that when they were considering the running mate or the vice president to President Magufuli, she was not even aware. She was in the room where the discussions were happening, and because the party leadership requires that they go into caucuses, she was seated outside and she was called by President Jakaya Mrisho Kikwete to come, and she was going to be the vice president. She was overwhelmed. I am confident that going forward, the women of the world, the women of Africa and East Africa will have opportunity, and that's why some of us who are proponents of change are saying we must now start treating our women as equal partners in leadership. And before that, we must create opportunities that will enable them ascend to position of leadership. In sustainable development reporting, either in the corporate or private or public sector, one of the agendas that they must achieve is gender equality and equity in reporting. And that must be seen in corporate and in public.
All right. I don't know what your sentiments will be. You know, Gloria, soon after she was sworn in, the conversation sort of majorly was about her being a woman as compared to, you know, her taking office.
Yes.
It suddenly became a gender issue.
Actually,
just comment a little bit about that.
What was very interesting to note is, you know, in other instances where man has taken over or where we have sworn in male president, the first thing they go to talk about or to profile this person, this man, is they say, you know, this is what he did in his career, this is what he did in his life in politics, this is what happens, you know, in his political, you know, allegiances and things like that. But with this, the first thing that happened when she was actually not sworn in, but the moment that it was announced that Magufuli has passed on, they pulled out all the clips of her talking about women, talking about how it was difficult for her being a wife, and you know, her career and how it has had an impact in her family life, and as a woman, you know, what she feels that she had to overcompensate. The conversation was not about her gains in terms of her political career. The conversation was not about her wins in her professional life. The conversation quickly went to how she actually lost some time having not to be with her children. The conversation went to how her husband is coping with having to be with a wife who's most of the time traveling. And I thought to myself, it's very strange, because that's how it's not strange. That's the first approach when we see a woman in these positions of power and leadership. People quickly, it's almost as if we are sort of aligned to start questioning, how then are her children taking it? Who then has time? How is the husband surviving? Who's cooking for him? We don't think of, oh my goodness, this person has come this far. How did she come this far? You know, what propelled her in her professional life? So, and I think it's something that we can slowly, you know, we sort of have to intentionally sensitize the community to understand that as a woman and as a man, we both have equal responsibility to our children. So, I mean, the next time perhaps when Fred Okango, because I know he's vying for MP in Kasipul somewhere, and I would want to know the moment he's sworn in, maybe we should start asking now Okango's children, how are they going to survive without him being in the house? And we should start asking, you know, how is the wife going to survive now? Okango will be traveling too much, you know. So I think there has to be some sort of intentional sensitization that when we're looking at leaders, male or female, I think there should be some sort of fair ground and how we approach that conversation. I'm glad that in Her Excellency Suluhu's speech, when she was sworn in, she was very intentional actually just to keep it professional and keep it in terms of, I am addressing the nation as the president of Tanzania. And I'm glad that it did not digress into some sort of gender of conversation.
Yeah, all right. Yeah. She's a woman who is qualified, like Fred said earlier. She came from a very junior position to where she is right now. So even if it was not for this unfortunate circumstance, she would still be somebody that people would look at as somebody who has very capable leadership qualities, even if circumstances were different. We'll talk about that later. But I don't know whether, Fred, you also have a feeling that there is that imbalance when it comes to vetting. Let me use that term for lack of a better word. Vetting candidates when it comes to a woman vis-a-vis a man. There is that imbalance that when it is a woman, it sort of touches more on the person, her life, her family, her children. But when it's a man, it's more about the values, the achievements, the accomplishments, what they have done, what they can deliver. I don't know whether you feel the same, like Glorious.
I do. And it's unfortunate because the principle is that people should be appointed or elected on the basis of their personal integrity and suitability. And if you are suitable, it means you are competent enough to occupy that position, whether it is elective or appointive. But if you look at the women, not only in Kenya, in most of democracies, their suitability comes with a tag. Whose wife are you? Whose girlfriend are you? Where do you come from? How many children do you have? Where is your background? But when it comes to us men, then they look at the suitability on the basis of your achievement in the past. They don't look at your suitability on the basis of your sex, on the basis of your, those minor things. And that's why I'm saying in developing countries, we must be very intentional. And in Kenya, to come back in Kenya, we must be very intentional. I have no problem at all as Frederick Okango seeing the next president of this republic to be a woman. In fact, if you ask me, I think it is time Kenya had a female president. But does the historical injustice meted against women allow? They don't allow. Take a case in place, Serfine, in the 2/3 gender principle. When the parliament was struggling to ensure that they passed that law, the women of Kenya in parliament, through their representatives, could not marshal the numbers because they feel they are a minority, because the men in that house could not allow them. So it has been a challenge that we are struggling with, not only as a country, but as a continent. And that's why the UN established goal number 5 that ensures that women must be equal, gender equity. A time will come when as men will be minority, like today I'm a minority on this panel, but at that time, we shall have ensured that women are occupying spaces of leadership and they can now empower men in equal measure. So what I'm saying is the challenges that we are experiencing. Today, my good friend Gloria, who we differ a lot with politically, but we're very good friends, by the way, is running. And Gloria will tell you that when she goes to run for member of parliament, the challenges Gloria will experience will be very different from the challenges I'm going to experience in Kasipul Kabondo. Because Gloria will be asked, who is your husband? She will be asked, where are you coming from? She'll be asked, where are you married to? I mean, those historical challenges, and some of them are traditional, and we must move from there. We must look at women as capable leaders based on their suitability and competency. And we must also look at them as people who can do better. Today, the corporate world has done better than the public world because the C-suits, most of the MDs, the CEOs of companies that are doing better have been led by women.
Are you glad that he's saying that?
No, that is the fact.
No, I am glad that he's actually saying that.
Okango and I, politically, we differ. We are like water and oil, but we're really good friends. And I respect the fact that he actually is one of the few men in politics who tend to understand the dynamics that we are facing as women. And he's right. The challenges that an aspiring woman is facing in politics are completely different from that of a man. I can tell you for a fact that in my constituency, where I am vying in Bobasi constituency, yes, the first thing that they ask is, where are you married from? Because if you're not married from Bobasi and you're married from another constituency, then, but you come from that constituency, then we are definitely not going to allow you to try and get a position of leadership in this constituency, because once you're married, you're considered not part of that constituency, but wherever it is that you're married. So, and in my situation then, you know, my answer is very clear. I'm not married from that region, and so therefore there is some sort of grace. But then you then go to an aspiring male politician who's not questioned where he's married from. He's not questioned whether he comes from there, whether he's just decided to, you know, cross over and think, you know, I live here, I've lived here for a couple of years, perhaps I should vie for Member of Parliament here. So it's completely different. I've had instances where particularly the men are not interested in the changes that you want to come and bring to that community. You know, you tell them, I would like to bring infrastructure, I would like to push that our CDF is utilized well and whatever, and they're not interested in that. They simply would like to push an agenda of how many children do you have? Why do you have one child? You should have, by the time you're becoming a leader, if you think you want to be a leader, you should have at least sired up to maybe 6 children, and then maybe we'll take you seriously. And it goes as far as when there's a realization, which I think now it's actually, there's like an awakening, particularly in my county, in Kisii County. There is an awakening that women are leaders. There is an awakening that actually, given a chance, they might, you know, propel our agenda in terms of development. So, and that's the reason why, for instance, you've seen certain political parties like UDA having enough faith in that Kisii County to actually pick a woman and endorse a woman as their candidate. You know, in Bonchari, the candidate for UDA is actually a woman. And I believe, for me, those are small, those are milestones, those are wins, because now the moment a party such as UDA actually fronted that particular woman, a week and a half later, we got another woman actually vying, and another party saying, you know what, we're actually going to believe in you.
Happens,
so we normalized, we started normalizing the idea of women in politics. But I'll tell you the funny thing, that one of the things that came out when the posters came out, it was because they're not so used to seeing a woman even in a political poster running for a seat. Some of the comments that were coming out is, yeah, but she looks so old. And I was saying, you know, this woman is the wife of the late MP Oro. The late MP Oro is years older than her. But when we put a man who's old on the poster, you know, those are not the things we pick out, like, oh, this man is so old. No, we look at other things. So I think we are making strides. I truly, sincerely believe that this coming era, the next 15 months, is going to be a changing, this is like a transition. And I'm glad that the people of Kisii County, particularly those of Bobasi constituency where I come from, have actually, they're embracing women in leadership, and they're starting to understand leadership isn't actually about your age, your gender, or what, it's really about your capabilities and what you're going to bring to the community.
The last time we were having this conversation,
yes,
I don't know whether anything has changed in between. You were challenging the patriarchy in politics.
Yes.
And you talked about your region not having a single female elected leader. Yes. I don't know whether that has changed or
we still, I mean, other than the women rep and one MCA, we actually don't have any female elected MP in Kisii County. And the sad thing is also that it's not that we don't have one that is elected, but in the last election, actually none vied for it. So it goes both ways. And I remember last time when I left a bit early, I said, you know, I have to go and push the agenda of women. I was actually going to ensure and to fight for a woman candidate to be embraced in a certain party. And I'm glad that now I'm sitting here 2 weeks later, and we have a chance to, you know, sort of break that patriarchy in Kisii County by actually electing a woman MP in Bonchari.
Okay.
Yes.
You know, just talking about this and saying that, you know, it could be 2 issues, which include no woman came forth to vie. Fred, how do you read this, though? Why is it that we have not accepted, we have not embraced, we have not normalized a woman being a leader? And today I'm not talking about any position, I'm talking about these top positions. Let's leave these top positions. There are positions that we say we have reserved for women, but there are others that you'd actually not even hear women being mentioned, or you're not, even if you're a woman, you would feel like you cannot even attempt to say that you want to be there. I mean, why do we live in such a, with such a mindset as a society? What could be wrong with our line of thought when it comes to women and leadership in this country?
You see, Serfine, these are historical injustices, and they are very severe, because women for a very long time, people have believed that they belong to the kitchen. When a man comes from work, the only thing they expect is that they are served food, and then that's it from a woman. And a woman should be at home, take care of the children, while the man is going out to fend for the family. Things have changed. In Kenya, the reason why we don't have women, a lot of them in leadership, is because the perception that Kenyans have had against women. They're looking at women and they're thinking they are not capable. They're looking at women, they're thinking they're not competent. If you look at the affirmative action programs, they have been made to even make women believe that they are a weaker sex. Time has changed. We must consider women as equal sex in both competency and suitability. And that's why the proposals in the amendments that when you are going for leadership positions like governor of a county, then your running mate, if the governor candidate is a male, then the running mate must be of opposite gender, a female, and vice versa. That one is a way of ensuring that we give women equal opportunity. But most importantly, I am happy that there are so many women who are doing a great job in elective positions, not nomination. Millie Odhiambo is one of the women that has come from very far as a nominated, went and competed against men, floored them, and today is a member of parliament. I've seen others from Ukambani, I've seen others from Rift Valley, and I've seen others from Central Kenya. You know, there are quite a number. So for me, I'm thinking that the reason why that has been happening is because we have never offered women opportunity. All along we have been thinking women have got their place. And that's why this term woman rep was very demeaning. Because people look at you and say, what is this woman rep saying? Some people believe you are just representing women. No. We must now change the language. Then we must now change our mindset. In changing the language, we must look at the Constitution and say, how do we ensure that we create structures that will attract women to get into leadership positions? Number one, we must start incentivizing the political parties where we are as leaders, for example. And in incentivizing, we must ensure that we create opportunities for women right from the political parties. Her Excellency, Madam Suluhu, was given an opportunity in the party, Chama Cha Mapinduzi. And that's how she rose all the way to now. God forbid their president died, but now she's a president. But were it not for the opportunity that she was given in the party, she would not. So in political leadership, we must start from the political parties. Ensure that our parties occupy a space for women, and our parties achieve that two-thirds gender. Number two, we must now be deliberate as voters. Because when Gloria presents her papers as a nominee for Member of Parliament, and we still look at Gloria as a young woman who is not capable, then we are not going to create... There are so many people who look after Gloria, and they believe when Gloria makes it, I can also make it. So if you are denying Gloria opportunity, then you are denying 1 million women opportunity through Gloria. Number three, we must also be very deliberate to ensure that when women stand for positions, we support them. Because a lot of men are violent, and when you go into politics, politics is about fights and war. People start fighting, people start kicking each other, and women fear violence. Even in your own house, when you see violence, you tend to back off because you believe that you're not capable of fighting, you can only talk. So women have been given the skill to be very empathetic. It is in the house, women cook, they ensure that kids are okay. If we can trust the women of Kenya with our children, we can trust the women of Kenya with our money, we can trust the women of Kenya with our own hearts as our girlfriends and wives, then why don't we trust them with the country? We must change.
Hapo kwa money. Anyway. Gloria, you're young, you're a woman, you're vying in a region that still has a long way to go before actually a woman leader can be accepted, women leadership can be normalized. What's your game plan?
You know what? I actually don't have a game plan. I just have such a strong conviction that if I don't do it, nobody will. And I have a strong conviction that it has to start from somewhere. And I know that being a sort of pioneer will cost me a lot. It will probably cost me a lot of anxiety. I will have to pick up a lot of battles because really, you're sort of a pioneer. So people are going to, I'm a case study. And I don't really have a game plan. You know, I have always wanted to be in politics, and I've always wanted to go back to my home in Bobasi and bring development. And so those are the two things that I just, you know, push through with. So I think one of the things that I've quickly learned is to understand, to not be so resentful with the reactions that I might be getting in certain regions. So I think maybe you can say my game plan is that I'm understanding. I understand that I am venturing in waters that have not been, you know, nobody has swum there before. I am understanding that the notion that a young woman, you know, I'm still in the age bracket of the youth, that a young woman would go into Kisii County and actually offer herself as a leader is going to be contested by many. But I also understand that there's so many other young women and old women who look up to me and sincerely have all their hopes that, you know, whatever it is I'm trying to achieve comes to fruition because they believe in me, and they believe in leadership and women in leadership. So I think if I don't come that far as to be the elected member of parliament of Bobasi constituency, I can already see the wins that I have made in this journey. Just sitting here and saying that I was very instrumental in pushing the agenda of the women by ensuring that Mama Teresa Oro was on that ticket, I think that to me is one win. The other win I can say is immediately after that, we actually got another woman who got endorsed by another party. Those are such major strides. And I can tell you for a fact that going forward, as we are preparing for 2022, I'm getting so many phone calls from a lot of women from Kisii County who want to vie as MCAs, as MPs, and they're saying, you know what, we've seen what you're doing and we actually believe in this, so where do we start? And the fact that I can sit somewhere and say, okay, there's a mindset that's being changed, and including from men who believe in what I'm trying to do and are supporting the venture of actually elevating women. I think that in itself is such a major win that, you know, sometimes we become too negative in Kenya and we say, oh, all is lost, women are not allowed this. We have to think about the gains, the gains that we've had in that area, particularly women in politics and leadership. We've seen the likes of Martha Karua, we've seen the likes of Millie Odhiambo, like my colleague said, we've seen the likes of Susan Kihikia, Gladys Boschole. Those are wins. We have to celebrate the strides that we are making and understand that we are not going to conquer the world in one day. It takes a while, and it might take up to 20 years for us to normalize that women are leaders in all of these regions, but it has to start from somewhere. And I think for me, on the issue of the proposed the referendum, the Building Bridges Initiative referendum, I think one of the things that they are really missing, you know, you can talk about, we are pushing the Senate to have 50-50 representation in terms of gender. They can say that we've also insisted that, you know, if the governor is a male, then they will somehow be coerced to pick a female. But I want to remind a lot of these drafters of these bills that affirmative action is not throwing things at women or throwing things at the gender that is being, you know, marginalized. Affirmative action must come with dignity. Affirmative action must come with respect. And that's the reason, as as Okango said, that's the reason the moment that affirmative action was coined into a word that says women representative of this county, it lost the meaning, the dignity, and the respect of what we were trying to achieve. And I believe that as much as we are saying we are pushing the women to the Senate, and so the women should be okay, we have to remember that, the fact that the women representative seat is being scrapped out, it means that the affirmative fund that was coming with that seat, because they had a budget to push the agenda of women, that's gone now, you know? And when we say we are going to have, if the governor is a male, then the deputy must be a female, we have to be very, very honest. The wording that has been used there is progressively. The wording that has been used in that bill means that we will encourage you, that it is not mandatory, it is not a must that you will actually pick a woman. So those are the kind of small hiccups that are there in that bill. And at the end of the day, when you look at the gains that we are making as women from the proposed bill and the losses that we, that we are actually stepping back from, we have a lot more to lose by passing that bill than we have to gain as women.
Fred, I know you're itching to respond, but funny enough, you're among the few women that have had criticized that many women have actually just embraced the proposal to have the 50-50 representation in Senate. Fred, I'll give you a chance to respond to her critique of the proposals contained in the bill. She says women have more
But maybe
to lose.
can I address why there are more women supporting that bill? Because many years and years over, there is a language that is used to address women, and that language is very deceitful. Why can't someone come out and say we are removing the women representative seats from this and it will go with the budget? We are taking you to the Senate where you don't have a budget. Why can't they come and say the clear understanding so that I know I'll be in Senate as a woman doing what? Doing oversight. Will I have an affirmative fund so that I can push the agenda of women? No. Will I will be a body count for the votes, you know? So I think the reason why many women have fallen into that trap of just saying, hey, we are going to have women senators, we are going to have more whatever, is because this is the coercive language that has always been used with women. You know the way they say, ukitaka kwenda kuongelesha mwanamke, unaanza kumtongoza, you know? Tunatongozwa, that is what is happening. But the facts are, we are actually losing.
Fred, is it true? Is this what is happening? Is it just a body count to have more women?
It's not true. It's not true. Because, first of all, I want to refer to our viewers. I want to refer our viewers to Article 180 of the Constitution of Kenya. The BBI has proposed an amendment to that article. And if you read that article, clause 47 of the bill, it says, it uses the word shall. And I want to read it verbatim so that we are clear. Article 180 of the Constitution is amended by inserting the following new clause immediately after clause 5. In making the nomination under clause 5A, candidate for election as county governor shall consider a person of opposite gender. So it's not at their discretion, it is mandatory. Number two, when women are having a 50-50, men and women are having a 50-50 representation in the Senate, it is good for this country. And tell me why. Because Senate is the house of devolution. And the women in the Senate shall now have equal vote. Currently, majority of the women in the Senate, when they make a decision through a vote, they make a decision through what is called delegation. And in that delegation is, the head of delegation is the person who is elected. The nominated women, majority of them, don't have a vote unless it is an issue that does not concern the county. That's what the Constitution says today. So the amendment that has been proposed by BBI cures so many things. Number one, it cures the issue of two-thirds gender in the Senate as a section of parliament. Number two, it gives women a voice to control resources that are going to the county in totality. And they are not only having the GAF now, they're controlling the entire 35, just like the other senators are oversighting the same, the male senators. So they have more resources to look into. And remember, the allocation of the money that is going to the county, one of the criteria shall also be achievement of the provisions of socioeconomic rights in Article 43, water, electricity, food, healthcare. Those are issues that are very close and dear to women because they encounter such problems daily. So putting 50-50 representation in the Senate cures the problem that our people are undergoing in the counties. Number three, in the House, the National Assembly, the provision is such that in the event that women are not elected, in the event that Gloria doesn't make it, I know she'll make it,
but
but
not a good example.
I know Gloria will make it, but I'm saying in the unlikely event, and I would want also to, I'll give Gloria a ticket as a party, because I know they'll play her. But in the unlikely event that Gloria will not make it, and the BBI has passed, you know what will happen? They'll consider Gloria's ranking in the last election against other women, and it is on that basis that Gloria shall be specially be elected, considering his or her participation in the election. So Gloria will not lose as a woman. She will have a place in the National Assembly to represent and further the aspiration of other women and other Kenyans as she was looking for.
But
so
how many Glorias will get a chance to be
wait a minute, let me just finish. So for me, I think either way, we must create opportunities for our women. We must ensure that our constitution gives them equal opportunity, just like it is in the Bill of Rights, because we are all equal before the law. Number three, we must also ensure that these women, as they go into competitive politics, we create an environment that do not scare them, because a lot of times women have been scared, they run away. BBI.
All right. Gloria, I know you're eating.
No, let me just
allow me to pay the bills. Allow me to pay the bills, and then we'll come back after this particular break for you to react to what he has said. We're taking a very short break. We're coming back. This is News Check.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
That woman can arouse passions. Emma hates her. She's so angry. She even threatened to kill her. Imagine that. It's very rude of you to come to my house at this time of night.
I know, but I don't care. Amaya, I'm here to try for the last time. Please tell me that it's not too late to start a relationship with you.
I'm telling you, you can't marry Max.
Salvador, you have to understand me. I'm begging you. I love Max. I'm marrying him, and there's nothing you can do to stop me.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Black people rise up, God knows.
Change is over, and it starts with me. Some people got hopes and dreams. Some people have hopes and dreams. And the strength and the power to just be the glory. The most I go before us, protect us from the enemy.
On the next episode of
cha hivyo, yani hata natamani asirudi kabisa.
Tizame basi, mimi nikikuchukua wewe, yeye hawezi kufanya lolote.
Jamani, Mungu mshari wewe.
Fanya hivi, nifiche. Hapana, sitajificha wewe.
Afadhali nakuomba. Jifiche hapa.
Akuje tumenyana.
Fanya hivi, sikiza bwana.
Ofanyani.
Navangua mume wangu.
this weekend on KBC Channel 1.
I am too young and handsome to die at this age. You are never driving me again in your vehicle. You almost made me puke my intestine.
Hi, Farah, come on. What do you expect from us, Ouma?
Jesse, what are you doing? Nothing. Nothing. That doesn't look like nothing. But that is what my heart is telling me too. You better tell your heart to shut up.
Mama Kenyanjui, you're back, eh? Kwani nilikuwa nikuja nikutafute, nikuhabarisha.
I see what is happening here. Like mother, like son. Opportunistic people.
This is enough. Please.
Out. I will report you to women rights.
Go ahead. Report. Iko nini?
Classmates, every Saturday on KBC.
My name is Flint Lockwood, and I've always wanted to invent something awesome.
Hair unbalder! be smart, but that's lame. Can't you be more like my son, Cal?
Sup? Sup?
It really works! I love it!
Mamma mia. Cloudy with a chance of meatballs.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. This is News Check. This particular morning, we are tracking quite a number of issues for you and also having a very important conversation in studio revolving around women and politics, women and leadership, depending on how you want to look at it. So we've talked about so much that touch on what has been termed as some of the challenges that hinder women from thriving in this particular journey to become leaders and also to take up the senior topmost positions of leadership in this particular country. We'll be picking up that conversation in just a bit, but allow me also bring you up to speed with the ongoing exercise to man the examination and the candidates to sit for their national examinations in the country. And this particular morning, the Education Cabinet Secretary, Professor George Magoha, is sending a very stern warning to the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Examination Center managers in Nyanza, who he says have plans to steal examinations. Magoha was speaking in Busia this morning where he witnessed the opening of the third day KCPE exam papers.
Let me warn again for the last time that as we go to the KCSE examination, we are following up quite a number of cheeky center managers together with their collaborators. And I would have this to say that the integrity of the examination shall be protected at any cost. So if you think that you are bold enough, whether you are from Ouma Bay or from Migori or from Isebania or even from Kisii, my warning to you is that you stop confusing our children. We are not scaring the children, we are protecting them. There are people who are planning to hire university students to go and sit for examinations in certain parts of this country. Let me just say that we are watching you. They think they are very advanced because they may even have interfered with the photographs, but it shall not happen under our guard.
Professor George Magoha there, sending a very stern warning against those who are plotting to steal examinations. He was in Busia County this morning just monitoring the ongoing examinations. KCPE candidates are on their last day. They're sitting for their final paper today. And of course, the candidates who are sitting for the Form 4 examinations, the Kenya Certificate of Secondary School examinations, will start their exams officially next week. And right here on this particular show, since we began this particular week, we are still going on and wishing all the candidates all the very best as they continue to sit for these examinations that are coming at a time when there's been quite a lot of challenges courtesy of the COVID-19 pandemic. But you will make it either way. All the best to all of you who are preparing or even sitting for these examinations. So in studio, we have been talking about women and leadership, and I think I'll now give you a chance, Gloria, to let it all out.
I think I want to respond to Okango. You know, he quoted the proposed bill.
Yeah.
And he quoted it to emphasize the word shall, meaning that shall then therefore will be mandatory, that a woman, if a man is a governor, the woman must be the deputy. But I want to use the same analogy and quote for him the current constitution, Article 81, that says not more than 2/3 of the members of elective or appointive bodies shall be of the same gender. Yet we're in 2021 with this constitution, and we know that is not the case. We know that the 2/3 gender rule was not implemented. Now, the same people who actually were very instrumental in drafting the 2010 constitution are the same people who are still very instrumental in drafting the amendment, the BBI amendment bill. And yet, even if they say shall or this, you know, what is the confidence that we have that if they were not able to implement the 2/3 gender rule, which still uses the same terminologies of shall, then how sure are we that this thing they are talking about with the deputy and the governor is going to be implemented? And another thing that supporters of the Building Bridges initiative do not want to speak to women about is that we are saying with the new proposed bill for the Building Bridges initiative, they are saying that the cabinet secretaries are going to be picked from the National Assembly. They are saying that that actually, if you are now elected as an MP, you stand a chance to be picked then to also double up as a minister of a certain ministry. But yet, that is not where they are sending our women. They are sending the women to the Senate. So now you've taken the women from the women representative where they had the affirmative action fund. You've moved them from there, you've pushed them to the Senate. That is where you're saying you want to empower them. But then you're saying that to become a cabinet secretary, that's coming from the National Assembly, where you're not taking these women, which you're saying is 50-50. So, I mean, at the end of the day, other than that, he also spoke of in the event that I don't win, yeah? In the event that in the very unlikely event, which is rare, which is very rare, in the very unlikely event that I actually do not get elected as a member of Parliament for Bobasi constituency, he's saying that now I have a chance to be nominated because according to the draft bill of the Building Bridges initiative, when they are done with elections and they realize that the 2/3 gender rule has not been met, then all those positions that, all the numbers that are required to meet the 2/3 gender rule, they're going to be nominated. Meaning we are going to have up to 600 and something members of parliament. Now, at the end of the day, if you look at the formula that they're going to use for nominations, like he said, in the event that I don't win, the very unlikely event, that whatever votes I get, you know, I'm going to be thrown into this list of all those other women who vied and did not win, and then we are going to be itemized, yeah? So if I, let's say for instance, got 19,000 votes in Bobasi, and the winner got 19,500 votes, right? And then you go to Kiambu County, no, forget Kiambu, let's say Wajir. Wajir, maybe the winner there, maybe, you know, the loser lost with 50 votes. Do you know the lady in Wajir actually doesn't stand a chance against me because now we are taking the numbers. So if I lost with 19,000 votes, because my population in Kisii is high, and the lady in Wajir or Garissa or, you know, the Asal regions where the population is low, lost with even 5 votes, she does not get to be nominated before me. You understand? So we are still marginalizing women.
I don't know whether
so at the end of the day, what I'm trying to say, and my message in terms of the women empowerment and how they have approached the gender issue with the Building Bridges initiative, is it's not really well thought of. In terms of affirmative action, as I said, has to come with dignity, has to come with respect, and issues of population, this one man, one vote, one whatever, is not going to be the ideal structure to use when you're trying to empower women.
I don't know whether you know, Fred, do we have a lot of grey areas in this proposal?
Not at all. You know, we are politicians, and Gloria, as a politician, Gloria as a politician knows that her wordings are convoluted in a way that would want to make the people of Bobasi to believe that BBI is not the solution. BBI is your solution.
No, absolutely. The good thing is, without us not being tempted to make this conversation about BBI,
but I just want us to finish up with that part. As a woman, I understand what we are losing in that.
All right, okay. Well said. Allow him to respond and clear the grey areas, because you say they are not there to be black and white.
Because number one, these women are not nominated. They are specially elected. That's why they go and participate in an election. Currently, you can wake up as a party and SG of the party and even nominate your girlfriend who has no idea of what leadership is, and it will pass because it is a nomination from the party. But as proposed in the Constitutional Amendment Bill 2020, the nomination or the special elect shall be from the people who have participated in an election.
And
Number two, it is not about the entire country. Gloria, I would advise my good friend to get into a party that will secure votes, because it is about the votes delivered, not the number of seats delivered. So when your party secures more votes, then you as Gloria in that party shall be nominated, irrespective of what happens in Turkana, Baringo, or irrespective. The Marsabit, they do theirs. The, how do you call it? The Migori will do theirs. So Gloria should not fear, because she still has a space.
Okango, if I can ask you just on that, because you're educating me, if I can ask you on that, because you're saying now that women are now bound to political party politics, and you know very well, because you have already stated it here on the show, that political parties are not necessarily creating a conducive environment.
That's why the BBI is creating that environment.
Now that you're attaching, now he's saying that it's not about the votes I get as a woman if I stand as an independent. It's about the political party that I stand with, and that's how the nominations are actually going to be carried out. So at the end of the day, are you really looking out for the interest of the woman or the interest of the political party?
All right, well said. Allow him to clarify.
Serfine, you know, the issue of gender is a very emotive issue, and that's why you see Gloria is very tough on it, and she'd want the best for herself and the many women out there. And I want the best for our women too, as a leader. And that's why we are saying the problem starts with political parties in the nomination. We have seen secretary generals of political parties in this country who have nominated their 5 girlfriends. One at the county assembly, one at the other, one at the national. I mean, this is abnormality. What the law now proposes is that when you go for an election, you must create an environment from the political party, and the political party shall be incentivized 30% on ensuring that they take care of the SIGs, special interest group, women being one of them and young people. So they'll get that. Number 2, the political parties shall go into an election, and the number of votes they receive shall matter. The number of votes they deliver. So the women and men who shall secure nomination, they secure that nomination through a special elect formula, where that means those who participated in an election shall be given priority over those who did not. And that means the political party that sponsored them must have given them an opportunity first. That is stick number 1. Number 2, when in the unlikely event that they don't secure those political seats through an elective formula, then the IBC shall have received their results. And they look at in Bobasi, Gloria Orwobo leading with 20,000 votes. The next one is with 15,000 or 10,000. They go for Gloria number 1, because Gloria put effort in securing those 20, and Gloria was given opportunity.
No, but Okango, you've actually, I'm asking you, that is the issue. There are areas where there will be another Gloria who puts equally as much effort, but the population count at that area will not amount to the 20,000.
Right.
And that's the issue that I'm trying to highlight, that the formula is flawed in a way that it actually marginalizes those women who are already marginalized, because I can put in all the effort, and if my population count in Bobasi constituency, right now we're looking at about 90,000 registered voters, and my population count is high. In another place, you go to, let's say, Garissa, and their population count is not that. You understand? So that woman is going to be disadvantaged, not because of the effort she puts, but because of the population count. And that is a serious issue that, as much as they're trying to push it under the carpet, it is actually going to further marginalize those women who are out there actually trying to break those glass ceilings.
Serfine, the issue is
I don't know whether we are getting it right. I really want us to have a conversation that revolves around a woman having the capability to have a playing ground that is equalized.
That is the thing.
Let's not talk about nomination.
Exactly.
Okay, let's not talk about fixing the problem after it has happened, after we have created it. Let's talk about how to prevent the problem from happening. That's the conversation I want us to have this morning.
The problem we have is we have not given the women of Kenya an equal opportunity to contest in politics, and for that matter, to occupy positions of leadership. So what is happening is we must now start, if it is politics, we must start from the political parties. How do we ensure that women compete fairly in a political party? The first thing we must do, we must ensure that we comply with the statutes that regard political party. Number one is our National Executive Committee comprises of women. Number two, are women given equal opportunity, just like men, to contest those positions of the national elective position? If they are given, then that's fair. Then how do we ensure that we attract more women? Because we are a very violent country where women are scared of political fights. So number one, you must incentivize political parties that guarantee positions for young people and women. That has been taken care of in the legislative program of BBI. Number three, when these women now proceed, you have given them an opportunity in the party, because the environment is secure. Now Gloria from UDA is going to compete with Serfine or Jen from Third Alliance Kenya. So what that means, they'll compete on a fair ground, number one. Number two, one of them will win and the others will lose. So if one of them win, fair enough. But in the event that one of them or two of them don't win, we cannot just throw it away that they lost. They have not lost. We must now look at them and say, okay, fine.
All right.
Have we achieved the 2/3 gender principle in the National Assembly? Yes, okay. You try another day. We have not achieved, okay, fine. What do we do with the women that contested and got proportional number of votes, and we cannot just throw them away, and they have got leadership quality because they're suitable and capable? Bring them to the National Assembly. How do you bring them? You bring them based on their coalition or their political party, the number of votes that political party received. So in my view, when you look at marginalized communities like Garissa and the rest, they have got their share proportion of what they'll get. The population there is lower, but you know, they even have higher risks. They even have higher challenges than some of the areas they come from. That challenge is what we are trying to talk about. We must give political parties an opportunity to secure the lives of those women, to ensure that those women who are suitable and capable occupy a position of power, just like they did to Suluhu Hassan of
Ladies,
Tanzania.
gentlemen, this conversation is actually picking up very fast, and I like how we are moving with it. I just want us to very quickly just follow up on something else that touches on women empowerment. This is in Mombasa County, a Women in HR convention happening at the Sarova White Sands Hotel in Mombasa. Let's just listen into what is happening, and then we come back and pick up our conversation in studio.
Then opened up as an avenue to make even a greater impact. Within our administration, once we got into office in 2017, I was also honored to hold a number of dockets within the county government. I initially held the docket of county transformation, mining, ICT and energy based on my background. And then we reshuffled the executive. I then held the docket of mining at one point and then moved on to public service and administration. And that's where I believe I'm comfortable with all of you now. Because that was talking about ensuring that we have managed the county's staff establishment in the right way. We had to go through a whole process which we managed together with the State Department of Public Service in looking at our organizational structure as a county, looking at the staff establishment. Is it worth, are we filling it with appropriate talent? Are we doing justice to the employees that were working at the county government, giving them the appropriate career progression that was required, and filling the jobs with the right talent, not just unanijua kama majala, which is what we expect from our devolved units. From there, I also dealt a lot with trying to ensure that we have put in the right terms and actually implemented the matters that were very contentious between county governments and doctors in terms of the doctors' collective bargaining agreements. And that gave me an experience truly of what I believe some of you go through, maybe 10%, 20% of what you go through as HR professionals. It is not something that I envy, and I believe that you need a pat on your back every single day for the work that you do. Managing talent is truly a God-given gift, and it is something that we need to be able to push forward, especially when we say that human capital is our gold in the world, in
right, so that is happening in Mombasa County, and we are following up on that for you as well. We bring you now to Nairobi County at Uhuru Park this particular morning. PS Karanja Kibicho is flagging off Jua Kali hospital beds that are set to go and improve in the counties that are going to be distributed across several counties in the country. Let's just follow up on what is happening at Uhuru Park, and then we can come back and pick up our conversation.
The phones went quiet, and the young people became very frustrated. CS, as a ministry responsible for coordination of national government, we picked this when the young men, and I want to really recognize them and acknowledge that these are patriots. Maybe for you, before I address their predicaments, could take this opportunity to actually introduce you to them. The three young people, we have Joseph Muhenja, probably if you could stand, and we clap for him. We have Solomon Gadogo, Gadogo eka umesimama. We have Engineer Warugoro, hapo tumpigie makofi. Gadogo is a guy who is very quick with the keyboard, and he went to the social media and really cried that here I am as a young person, I have picked roles, I'm being auctioned, and because of the power of social media, Asante Gadogo, we picked it up and decided that this is a young man who is an innovator, together with his other two colleagues, who should be supported. And CS, because I had no way of reaching them, despite seeing that problem, a friend of mine, Commissioner Wambui Nyoto, probably you could also stand so that people clap for you, approached me and introduced me to these young people. And when they narrated to me their predicament, I decided that our training money in our budget as Ministry of Interior will now go to training these ones. And we made a decision as a ministry that we are going to support these young people to actualize making of the beds. And because they had actually physically gone to banks and picked loans, they had actually bought the inputs. They had bought 2,000 caster wheels, the ones that are rolling these beds. They had bought 500 lifting mechanisms with nowhere to take them. So because Commissioner Wambui Nyoto introduced them to me, I told her, because I don't know these people, you have brought them, you are the one who is going to be in charge of that project. When it fails, you become answerable to me. And there was born an engineer, Wambui Nyoto, who has actually been supervising and facilitating on our behalf this project. In my ministry, we have Bwana Mutiso. Probably you could also stand and we clap for him, who has then been the link between this project, the commissioner, and the artisans. We agreed.
All right, they say buy Kenya, build Kenya. That is PS Karanja Kibicho at the flagging off ceremony of 170 Jua Kali hospital beds that are going to be distributed in 14 counties across the country. The beds make up the first batch of the 500 procured from 3 local artisans. This is as a directive by President Uhuru Kenyatta following the pandemic, COVID-19 pandemic, of course, just to equip our hospitals across the regions going forward. We will be staying close to that as well, just to update you. We are also receiving news this morning that Kakamega Senator Cleophas Malala has been ousted as the deputy minority leader. There is talk and a likelihood that he could be replaced by Kilifi Senator Stewart Madzayo. It's also something that we have just received this morning. We will be giving you more details as we receive them in our newsroom. And of course, we are also tracking day 3 of the KCPE examinations this morning. And right about now, we just want to take you to Kisumu County for a brief update from the Education Cabinet Secretary, Professor George Magoha.
Including teachers who are planning to do KCSE examinations for candidates in rooms that they have organized elsewhere. And I think this will basically be my last warning shot. If they intend to be bold enough to proceed with this, then you will see that we shall arrest them and throw them into prison until after the exam is completed. We are not going to negotiate with the future of our children. And as I warn these people, I would like the children who are going to take the exams starting Friday to feel extremely free and relaxed without oppression, because they are doing this exam under some of the most difficult circumstances, background of which some of them were out of school for over 7 months. So nobody should come and confuse you. All we need to do is to understand what you are able to offer. Going forward and addressing the examination that is going to start on Friday, let me ask all the center managers, because this is the exam that is usually with issues of cheating. And like I've said, we are watching quite a number of centers. Please, as you go to collect your examinations, what you must do as a center manager is to confirm that you are carrying the right exam and you are carrying the right content in the correct numbers. Don't just go and pick an examination packet like I've seen many of them doing during the primary school exercise, so that you don't go and start saying, oh, this is not there. You should have said that it is not there when you are doing the collection. And with regards to numbers of papers inside, don't waste our time, because we have done everything possible where every object that we are carrying has been weighed to the last page. So don't come and tell us that there are 20 pages missing here. Where you have taken them, get them back from there and make sure the children get their right. I want to thank our ICT colleagues going forward, my brother and friend Joe Mucheru, CSICT, because as we now move forward into the Form 4 examinations, they are going to be absolutely critical in ensuring that as we get the papers, they are marked properly, and that he usually provides us with extremely good ICT interns that are able to help us to deal with the issue. So having wished all the children, first of all, to congratulate the 1.9 who have completed. They have completed well. All the children who are required to sit for exams, who presented themselves, 99.999% sat for their exams. Those who did not sit had good reason. Some of them in the border areas are not traceable, because they could even have gone to Tanzania or Uganda, and they have, we have no jurisdiction there. Those who have health issues that could not do exams have also not been able to do exams. But those who have health issues that were able to do exams have been able to do exams. And all those other candidates who are not registered, because of the rogue nature of some of our leaders, have done exams, as government is going to deal with them. Now, as far as funding of Kenya School of Secondary Education is concerned, I'm very glad to state here that the government has now released 7.5 billion shillings to secondary schools. It is already reflecting in every secondary school. So we wouldn't want to hear a situation where people are saying that the children will not have, that the teachers will not have money to mount practical examinations. We are all aware that the government is doing its best. The president ordered the release of that money 3 weeks ago. We have been able to release 50% of it yesterday. The other 50% shall be released towards the end of April. So as far as money is concerned for the examination process of Kenya's Certificate of Secondary Education, where we had initially given 25%, now I think all teachers are in good stead to continue to mount the exam the manner it should be done. I also want to thank the members of the Fourth Estate for being reasonably fair this time round. Thank you very much for being reasonably fair this time round. You know, you report both sides, and it is good for everybody. We don't fear criticism, but also where the government is doing its best, you should also consider that, and I've seen that in whatever you are reporting. Let me just leave this press conference with one parting shot, that in order for us to mount successfully the next examination, we shall require the participation of everybody. We shall require that we are even extremely more vigilant with regards to COVID-19 protocols that have been given to us by the Ministry of Health. Since we are dealing with fewer schools, we should actually do better. God has been kind because we have not had issues in primary school, which has the larger number. As we move forward, let us hope that even now, as you are surrounding me, you are not obeying any social distancing, which is very worrying. Let us hope that as teachers are clinging together, maybe they love each other too much, they don't want to be around. Make sure that the children remain further apart, because the teachers will be with them for a longer period. As far as the marking of examinations are concerned, do not listen to rumors. The government of the Republic of Kenya has addressed fully the safety of our teachers during the marking process. The marking process shall continue because our teachers are actually the best in the world. They love their work. Should there be an incident that requires some attention because of any iota of negligence, we shall deal with it very swiftly as it comes. So nobody should think that we would want to take our teachers together to go somewhere like sheep or cows to die of COVID. God forbid. Na shetani ashindwe. Thank you very much, ladies and gentlemen.
Just one question on what you said last time. There was a suggestion from Kupet, let me be more specific, that you need to...
Okay, so that is the Education Cabinet Secretary there, Professor George Magoha. What he has been doing is to make sure that the examination process is seamless. He has really taken his time to address all the issues that are emanating from this process, warning against any form or any plan, any plot of having malpractice in this examination exercise. Today, the KCPE candidates are sitting for their day 3 of the papers. And of course, this is coming ahead of the Kenya Certificate of Secondary Education examinations that commence next week on Monday. Of course, we'll be also giving you more details about this as we continue. In studio, we're talking about women and politics, women and leadership. And the big question we are asking is, can women in Kenya ascend to the highest office? We are talking about not just leadership, but the topmost senior positions that influence so much in this country, and that is what we have been discussing this particular morning. I've been having Fred Okango, the Secretary General of Third Way Alliance Party, also a political strategist, and of course Gloria Roba, a youth policy analyst. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for staying on. Before we took those links here and there, we were talking and the conversation became very heated. This gender debate is usually a hot button. And I sort of, we got to a point I wanted us to look at not what needs to be done to fix the problem after women have not been elected in these leadership positions, but how do we go back? Right now is a good time to have this conversation when people have not decided who they are going to vote for. how do we achieve that before it happens? What will it take for us to begin having confidence in women leadership, for us to, when I wake up in the morning on that day of the election, I go there and I vote a woman, not because the Constitution requires me to do so, not because the candidate has nominated the woman as the deputy, but I vote that woman because I believe in what she can deliver. How do we get there? What is it that we need to do to get there?
You know, first of all, in order to vote for a woman, the woman has to vie. Yeah? So maybe that's the first point we need to address. How do we get more women to actually come out and say, I'm going to try my hand at politics and I'm going to run for this and this seat? There's so many obstacles that we as women, now I have to speak on a very personal level. As a woman who has actually stepped out and said, you know, I'm running for Member of Parliament in Bobasi constituency in Kisii, I'll tell you that even just coming out and speaking those words, it took me at least 3 years to be able to say that, because there was a lot of fear of how will it be taken, you know, what are the plans am I going to put, where am I going to get resources, who's going to support me, how do I find my way into the political circles and things like that. So first of all, let's address that issue. Why are women not going to vie? In other areas, it's because it's a taboo. You should not be seen as competing with men. So the moment you actually come out in your community and say, I'd like to vie for a certain seat, the first thing that you're done is you're castigated, you know? You're actually, you know, you become the community sort of banishes you out of the community. So you start asking yourself, will that woman actually risk her family, her entire life to come out just because she's trying to push this gender thing that we are trying to work on? That's the first thing. The second thing is, for those women who have actually broken, you know, those fears, and they've said, now, I don't care whether I'll be castigated. I don't care whether they'll laugh at me. I don't care whether they're going to threaten me with all sorts of things. I'm actually going to go out and vie. Then how does the society support them? How does, you know, we have a lot of organizations that keep saying we are pushing for political inclusion in women. You know, we want women to be in these spaces, but the only thing they keep doing is sensitization of civic sensitization. It's not that women are not sensitized enough to understand that they're leaders. It's just that even if you have sensitized them and they're out here, now I come out, I say I'm vying for Member of Parliament Bobasi constituency. Number one, where am I going to start from? How do I go to these communities to start selling my manifesto? That requires resources. We are talking about basic resources. For instance, my constituency, just to traverse 3 wards, definitely you need a car. Definitely you're going to need, if you're going there, you're going to probably want to sit down with groups of people and, you know, on a cup of tea. Those people are not going to start saying, come, we make for you tea so that you come and tell us the agenda. You have to contribute to that meal or whatever
it's an expensive affair.
So that is an expensive affair. And then at the end of the day, even if you somehow push it through the very end, and now we are talking about 2 weeks into the election, you need to have an agent. You need to have your agents at the polling station. You need to be able to pass the IEBC mandatory, you know, prerequisites. You need to have money, in short. Who is going to give these women money? Because you know very well, very few have been economically empowered to an extent that they can say, you know what, I have a couple of savings here. I'm going to pump into to politics.
Gloria, I'll give you a chance to continue because we're just about to take another break. But very quickly before that, Fred, I also just want you to sort of talk to the crop of women leaders who are coming up, those who've not even gotten the courage to come out and say and declare publicly that they are vying like Gloria has done. How do they, you know, put themselves together so that when they come out there, it doesn't matter whether you have the resources or the know-how or whatever, you get the goodwill. In this country, we have what we call goodwill. There are very many candidates who did not have the money. They didn't have the money, they didn't have the what, but they had the goodwill. They ended up being elected. How do you put yourselves together?
Serfine and Gloria, one of the things that we must do, and do it intentionally, is to encourage women to occupy positions of leadership, whether it is appointive or elective. Appointive, we can do. Elective, it is challenging. The challenges that we are experiencing in elective positions as far as women are concerned is issues to do with violence. So number one, we must ensure that we stop political violence that discourages women from participating in elective politics. Number two, women must come. And you have asked a good question. How do we ensure that women come out, encourage them? Number one, assuming in 2022 we have over 20,000 contestants in various political seats, and 10 or 15,000 of them are women. Do you know what that means? It means that chances are very high we are going to have more women in elective positions, because those are the positions that they have chosen to vie, and we'll elect them. So we must drive the agenda of having women on the ballot through whatever legal means possible, because it is only when they are the ballot that we can make a decision and elect them or not elect them. Number 4, the women of Kenya.
One thing I want to get clear. We're having this conversation, women to be given a chance to be leaders. You're saying they're not coming out.
Yes, they're not coming
numbers.
out, but because there are reasons. They're actually life-threatening reasons.
Why they're not coming out.
Why they're not coming out.
Let's talk about that when we come back from this particular break, because you're talking about women being leaders. Something coming up from this conversation. Women are not coming out in adequate numbers to vie for these positions. Why? That is what we are going to be answering on the other side of the break. And do join us, continue interacting with us at Serfine_Achieng at KBC. Channel 1 is our official social media handle.
FM Ilaiska Umada.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1.
Hawa wazee wa majanga. Hawa wanaishi kwa vituko. Mambo yao ya kubwaga majanga kila leo.
Ule mkataba ndio huu.
07 100 84 1000 8820.
Hizi namba zote hizi za nini hizi?
Probox.
Hii sio karatasi ya mkataba.
Game is over.
Wazungu sema it's okay.
North meets East as a never say die. Harambee Stars host the Pharaohs of Egypt, all hopeful of reviving their chances in the 2021 Africa Cup of Nations qualifiers after their 1-1 draw in Cairo.
Very dangerous. Oh no, what has he done? Oh, it's a golden opportunity. It's in the back of the net. There it is. And I think it is that man. Can they get a shot in? That's very dangerous. Can he get the ball back? It's in the back of the net. Kenya have scored. They found the back of the net.
Let's cheer them to victory in a true patriotic spirit, live on KBC Channel 1 this Thursday, the 25th of March at 7 p.m. KBC Channel 1, your true sports partner.
Next on.
Watu wameenda pale, wameamka asubuhi, wamepanga foleni vizuri.
Watu wako wengi. Nilikuwa nakwambia uje mapema. Hakuna haja tupange line si wote. Wewe tu nilipia alafu naleta huko tunapatana huko ndani ofisi.
Na nusu acha nihudumiwe nimaliziwe niende.
Unamaliziwa na ngoja unamaliziwa kwani si pia hataki kumaliziwa. Yaani uko hapo? Yaani kwenye line. Sasa hii ni maneno gani tena? Ni nini inaendelea hapa? Ama line inaanzia na huko pia mimi niende nikasimame huko nyuma. Wewe mzee hapana bwana. Unajua wengine tumepanda mabasi.
Kwa hakika hii ni tabia ambayo inaudhi sana.
Welcome back, and thank you so much for staying with us. This is News Check. Today we are talking about women and politics. A lot is emanating here, and before we took the break, we were just addressing the issue of creating an environment that would be friendly for women to vie and thrive in some of these leadership positions. One of the issues that actually came out before we took the break, Gloria, was the fact that, yes, we are saying this, but where are the women? And you cited the fact that there could be reasons why women are not coming out in adequate numbers to vie. Probably just to shed light on that for us to see where really the problem is.
You know, I'll use my personal experiences, yeah? And my personal experiences have been that the political field is very hostile towards women. The first few people that I shared with that I want to go into politics were actually political friends. And they themselves were very, you know, borderline kind of, you know, you don't want to waste your... that was the first thing. But when I went to the ground, you know, when I actually left my home and left, you know, when I actually now said I'm going to sell my manifesto, every morning I wake up to threats of rape, for instance, you know? In all those social media forums, in groups, sometimes targeted directly at me, saying that in Kisii we don't have women leaders, and for you to be introduced into politics, first we must rape you. Then I ask myself, how many women are on that platform who are actually watching all the, you know, threats?
And that's
that,
a very
you know,
serious threat.
Yeah, repeatedly, from the same people.
That's very serious.
Every day. It's almost as if they have an alarm and they go back and they say, because to them they know that that is it's a way, it's an intimidation that they can use to scare me out of the race, of the political, you know, arena. And then, and that's just something that they have probably chosen and said, unajua huyu tutamsumbua na hii. But now think about that woman who has to literally come out of the community there and say, I'm running for MCA in this ward, and they can't even step out of their compound before getting physically abused, violently attacked. So, you know, that's why I said, as much as we're saying women are not coming out, I mean, the stakes are high. They're being castigated, they're being, you know, banished out of their society because you think utakuja hapa kucontrol wanaume is the thing that they use. The second thing is, you know, you're a woman, you're just a symbol of, you know, something we can use and dispose. So these threats, and as much as you might think that they are your, you know, they just write them, they call you and give the threats, they actually have a completely extensive impact on how many women are actually going to look and say, look at what Gloria is going through. Why would I want to put myself through that? You have to be completely passionate and convicted that you're walking this journey as a woman, because it's not only about you don't have resources or how many cultural issues will you defy. It's actually life-threatening. You know, you've seen instances where the likes of Millie Odhiambo and all these other women,
they had to beat odds.
They had to beat the odds. They had to stand on top of the table and scream, because it's the only way to defend yourself as a woman, you know, in those spaces. You've seen instances, including in the by-elections in, was it Kabuchai or Matungu, where there was an alleged woman who apparently they said she was trying to change the votes. And the first thing that she was being threatened as they were walking by the men who are around her is, we are going to rape her. Let's rape her to teach her a lesson. So those threats are real. And sometimes people ask me, why do you want to do this? You know, you're comfortable, you're okay, you have your family, you know. Why do you want to go into a field where the same people who should be empowering women are the same people who are actually threatening you with this?
Why can't you just live a simple, quiet life?
Why yeah, that's the thing. Why can't you just live a simple... And I said it at the beginning.
As a mother, as a wife,
I am so convicted, and I believe that if I don't do it, probably no one will.
Fred, how do we jump beyond that, you know, from where you sit? Because many women would not be as courageous as Gloria and the others who've dared to try. And she's citing very life-threatening, it could be light talk, it could be serious, but this is something that would really make a lot of women feel intimidated and not want to come out and engage in such talks. How do you go beyond that as a woman candidate who wants to be a leader in this country?
First of all, when you decide to join politics, it becomes a challenging aspect in its own, whether you're a woman or a man. But it is more challenging for women. And listening to what Gloria is saying, when people start issuing threats of rape, then I think that it is too dangerous. And those are the issues that we call challenges, historical injustices, structural challenges, traditional challenges that are facing women in politics. So there are also men in this country who have used such challenges to scare away women who want to run for politics. So I want to encourage women, don't fear. Don't fear. Come out and speak strongly about them the way Gloria is doing, so that we encourage more women to come up. Number two, the security apparatus in this country must now also protect the women. Because I saw in one of the by-elections in Western Kenya where, even though that woman was not a contestant, but was an IBC official who was being frog-marched, you know? They was being frog-marched, and they were talking very bad language on what they can do to her, carrying, you know, those ballot boxes. I think we must, going into 2022, we must now start thinking, how do we secure our elections? How do we secure the public? How do we secure the contestants? And particularly, how do we secure women who are participating? One thing we must do, we must start speaking about this thing. We must give women roles. We must make it deliberate attempt to give them roles right from offices, right from homes, right from the small villages, so that they take up leadership roles as they grow, just like other women of the world. Hillary Clinton was given opportunity from home by the husband. The former president of Liberia, Ellen Salif, was given opportunity from her own family. So we must start from our own families, our small spaces, and give women opportunity, so that we make women occupy institutions, and then bigger institutions, and then national and international institutions. We must also protect them. I have seen in this country situations where women come out to compete, and you know what happens next? They are asked questions. Those questions, as a policy, must stop, because you cannot ask them questions and also complain that they are not in the political spaces. You must ask them questions and they answer, but you must also give them a fair platform to compete. We are lacking a fair platform for women to compete. We are lacking embracing women. We are lacking legal structures that allow women to come on board. We are also lacking the goodwill that you're talking about. The goodwill here is, women go into politics. Even those who have gone into politics, when they stand, I saw one of the members of parliament from Western Kenya telling a woman on the floor of the National Assembly that this woman, I'll slap you. I'm sure you have seen that clip. This woman, I'll slap you. Such utterances scare women who want to go into that house. Because if you're going into parliament and then you're going to be slapped by a man, then you say, I'd rather stay with my family and take care of my kids and not go into national politics. That violence is so bad.
It's bad.
Lastly, we have seen that women have shown that they are capable and suitable. All we need to do as political parties and as politicians and as leaders, encourage them and walk with them this journey. And let me tell you, maybe one day, when we have a 50-50 National Assembly and a 50-50 Senate as projected in the coming years, then the issues to do with women agenda will pass seamlessly. One of them is gender violence. We have so many women that are suffering in this country because of gender violence. But the legislation in the National Assembly, some of them don't see light of day in amendments or in proposal, because there are fewer women that can push that agenda. In legislation, it's about numbers. You mobilize and pass. In the Senate, the same. The issue that happen in the counties, there are women in this country who are going without food, without education, without health care for their children. Why? Because there's no one to speak for them. The men speak for themselves. But even those who are supposed to speak for them selectively when an issue occurs. We want now to see women in both houses, in the county assembly, so that they start speaking for women. Issues to do with rape, that allegation that my good friend here, Gloria, is talking about. When Gloria gets in parliament, then now she needs to look at amendments into those clauses, so that we even jail for life people who are raping women and they're scaring women from getting a position of leadership. We are saying, let's start by doing simple things. Give women opportunity in the house, in the institutions of work, in the national platform, in the international platform. I was very glad when I saw one of the, today the Director General of the WTO, World Trade Organization, a lady who is from Nigeria. If you look at her CV, she was given opportunity right from school. But here, when we go to school, a teacher says, where is the young man? Come and climb and fix for us this. Why not tell the woman to climb and fix? Start empowering them right from early childhood.
Equality. Yeah.
That gender equality we must speak strongly about. In the house, when you have a boy and a girl, you say, when you want to go for a stroll in the evening, it is 7, you just walk, you say, Daddy, come, you call the man. Why don't you go with all the women in your house and walk with them? We must start empowering them from the family level as we go up. And then they shall live to know that leadership opportunities are numerous and they are occupying them.
It's true. It's true. It's the basic things that count.
Correct.
Because we're just about to wrap up this conversation. I understand I have a very few minutes left. We started this conversation by asking whether women in Kenya can ascend to the highest office. And you know what the highest office in this country is? Sylvie Kiningi is a woman in Burundi. She served as the acting president between 27th October 1993 to 5th February 1994. To date, she is the first and the only woman to hold such a position in Burundi. We had another one by the name Agathe Uwiri Jimana. Kinyarwanda is very hard, but that's her name. She also served as an acting president between July 1993 and 7th of April 1994. This was during the opening stages of the Rwandan genocide. To date, she is also Rwanda's first and so far the only female to have served in that capacity. And then adding to the list in the East African community, we had Samia Suluhu, who was sworn in just the other day. So only 3 have gotten to that highest level of position in this continent.
No, 3 in East Africa.
In East Africa, yes.
Yeah. In the continent, we are now counting 10.
Yeah.
Because we have Liberia, we have Gabon, somewhere Rose Francine.
Yeah.
So I mean, those are wins.
Yeah. So will Kenya? Is there a likelihood that we could just join that list in the near future?
I think we're getting there.
Yeah.
I honestly, truly believe I think we're getting there. We've had the likes of Charity Ngilu run. We've had the likes of Martha Karua run for office.
The late Governor Bomet.
The late Governor of Bomet, actually. Joyce Laboso. So I think we're getting there. I think if we are at a place where we've normalized women governors, as much as they're not a big number, but we've normalized that you can actually have a woman who's a governor. I mean, why not? The only thing that, as I said, the challenges have to be dealt with. And truly, this is one of the reasons why I am really pushing that I get into the National Assembly, because as Okango said, the only way to change things is if you wake up. Somebody has to wake up and start doing the work. There's this assumption that as women, we tend to complain a lot. We go to our corner, sasa hii serikali, sasa nini, sasa sisi tutafanya, acha wafanye vitu zao, and things like that. But at the end of the day, we should ask ourselves, what are you doing to change that status quo? What are you actually doing as an individual to change that? In your small little space, maybe you might not go to parliament and do ABCD, but in your home, how are you actually pushing that agenda that women are being seen as leaders? In your office, for instance, you might be an entry-level assistant, but how are you pushing that agenda? So we can't be the same people who are complaining and complaining. Women are not given space, women are not. Sometimes we complain too much, and I know for a fact that I've been in forums where women have been given opportunity and they just don't show up. I've been to TV shows where women are given opportunity to come and speak on the women agenda and they don't show up. So as much as we are saying that yes, there are challenges and those challenges need to be addressed, I believe as women who are passionately interested in changing that status quo and pushing that agenda, that we also have to say, in your space, Gloria, stop complaining about the government, stop complaining, what have you done? And I can be able to say, actually, in my small little space here where I have influence, I've done this, I've said this, I've empowered women in this way, I have, created a culture where women can... We have to start from somewhere. So I think, I would say in the next 20 years, if not less.
20 years? That's a long time.
No, it's not, because we are looking at, we are also being pragmatic.
I was about to ask you 2022.
No. 2022, we are
becoming too ambitious.
I truly hope that Martha Karua actually runs for office. I truly, sincerely hope that the likes of Charity Ngilu run for office or support a woman presidential candidate. But you see, we are even struggling to think of the presidential candidates who are women. Like, other than, and I don't want to seem like I'm biased, you know what I mean? Okango, when we were on break, said, if I was to call a caucus for young women in politics, he could only think of 3 people off his head. So we need to also be aware that we must actively participate in changing that idea that women cannot be in leadership. Yeah.
Before I go to another issue, Fred, I don't know what your sentiments would be. 2022, Her Excellency, someone?
It's possible. And I can tell you why. It's possible because there are qualified women to get to that office. All Kenyans need the goodwill from their colleagues and support. And you know, even if we don't want, we are still scared of a woman leader in the big office, let's start from the deputy president being a woman leader. Let's start from there. I can tell you, I'll be the happiest man to walk into a ballot and vote for a combination of a man and a woman as president and deputy president, or vice versa. That is what we want to see. We are able to do that through encouraging women. The women that have occupied the highest positions, Anne Waiguru, Charity Ngilu, Martha Karua, they should now start speaking as one and front one of their own to run for the top office. And the men will support them. Because we are also told women are their own enemies sometimes. They fight each other.
True, though?
I don't know about that. But I have seen where women look at their others and say, your shoes are nice, but
I think
mine are better.
Okango, I think the last conversation we had on that notion is when, for instance, we've seen you as the Secretary General of Third Way Alliance going head-to-head with your former chair, you know, and we don't say how come men fight men. Men have an idea of fighting men. No, it's just 2 political leaders who have different opinions and different ideologies. So when women who are actually coming together and saying they don't have the same ideologies, why is it looked upon as women fight women?
But women genuinely supported each other. I think we are, if I'm not wrong, we have like, in the voter registration, women actually form a large chunk.
Let me tell you, if you look, I attended,
voters in this country.
I attended the post-election review by IBC of 2017 at KICC. And if you look at the numbers, it started by demographics. Number one, out of the 19 million voters, 57% were young people. Then out of the 19 again, 60 were women. So it means that women today can wake up and put one of their own as president. Young people can wake up and put one of them as president.
If they want.
You know what? If they want. What is lacking? They don't want.
No, Serfine,
going into 2022,
let me say something.
Gloria and the team must show us that they want to be in positions of power.
They have the vote.
I will speak particularly for Kisii County. We are 52% women, yeah? And women support women. I mean, we are the same women who pushed to have a woman candidate in Bonchari. We are the same women who are actually still supporting our fellow youth women in whatever activities they're doing. So I think let's not look at it like women don't support women. Sometimes we differ politically in ideologies, just like men differ with their fellow men. But I don't think the idea is that women don't support women. I think the idea is that women have been conditioned to think that other women are not capable of leadership. And the moment we unlock that from their heads and they stop looking at women as their fellow women and start looking at women as what do you bring to the table in terms of skill sets, then definitely they'll be able to see women as on an equal level as men. It's not an issue that we don't support each other. Personally, I will tell you, I am such a big supporter of any woman out there who's trying to push the agenda of women empowerment economically or socially. And that's the reason up until now, I will anytime campaign for any woman who's standing up and saying they're running for so and so, because I truly believe the bigger picture is not even about them as a person, but it's about the wins we're trying to gain in terms of gender empowerment.
All right. Yeah. Thank you so much, Gloria and Fred. I'd just like to give you 30 seconds each for your final remarks as we wrap up this conversation. I'll start with you, Fred. What do you leave us with? After all is said and done, can women thrive in this country?
The people of Kenya must realize that women are suitable, capable, and competent. And they must be appointed or elected on the basis of their personal integrity, not on the basis of where they come from, not on the basis of their gender, not on the basis of who they relate with, but on their personal integrity. And that must start from our political parties, from our families, from our homes, from our workstations, from our institutions, so that we encourage women. And going forward, I am convinced that the progress we have made, we have seen a number of governors, female governors elected, we have seen a few women members of parliament elected. We want to see. And with the amendments that we are now pushing forward, we want to see a better way of involving women, not only by pushing them and giving them seats, but also by providing an environment that allows them to participate fairly in an elective process. That shall be done. And we want to say that in 2022, we might just be lucky as a country and have a female president or a female deputy president. It is coming, it shall be done.
I'm looking forward to that day though. Gloria, what's your final word?
I think my final parting shot would be that I want to encourage women on all spheres out here. I want to encourage them to come out. We have 15 months to elections. The journey is not easy. It's definitely very challenging, very difficult with a lot of obstacles. But the first step is to actually come out and declare that you want to run for office. And I think that it's high time, and I want to particularly appreciate the women from my constituency, Bobasi constituency in Kisii. I appreciate the fact that they have held my hand, they've actually come out in big numbers, and they're saying, you know what, this time round, we are actually going to elect a woman. And now that you've come out, you've shown us what you're going to do. I want to appreciate the women of Bobasi constituency. And I think going forward, do not be scared. There are a lot of threats, there are a lot of things, but you know, if you're passionate about this thing, and if you're passionate about, convicted to change something in this country, you know what? No retreat, no surrender. Paka 2022.
What a way to end it.
Paka kwa debe.
Paka kwa debe. Tani kwa debe. That's such a nice way of ending it. Thank you so much for creating time this particular morning. Gloria Oroba, she's a youth policy analyst, and of course Fred Okango, the Secretary General, Third Way Alliance. Thank you so much, ladies and gentlemen, for creating time. All right, we've come to the end of the program, and we just want to hand you over to Tanzania. I told you you've been following up very closely on the burial arrangements of the fallen president, Dr. John Pombe Magufuli. Today, his body was ferried to Mwanza for the residents to have a chance to pay their last respect. I understand that right now, as you speak, the body has already been transferred to Chato. This is where his home is, and is going to be laid to rest tomorrow, on Friday, actually. In that particular place. And of course, a lot has been said about this particular man who has served the country as the 5th president from 2015 when he was elected to 2021 when he died. He has served 2 terms. And of course, before that, he served in various capacities in the country as the Minister of Works, Transport and Communications. This was from 2000 to 2005 and 2010 to 2015. And also as the chairman of the Southern African Development Community from 2019 to 2020. And I can go on and on about Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, who many celebrate as somebody who was very stiff and very assertive in what he meant business, and he could call you out if you were serving with him in government. He could call you out in case you are not doing your job and actually call for action immediately, and his problems were solved on the spot. Many have really celebrated him for a man who was spiritual, and he loved people. He was a people's person, and I can go on and on about him and what leaders have said about him. We just want to hand you over to Tanzania to just follow up on what is going on. And of course, we have a lot that has been said in terms of the tributes that come with him. And we just leave you with that as you continue to follow very closely what is being done in Tanzania ahead of his burial on Friday, the 26th of 2021. My name is Serfine Achieng Ouma, and our sign language interpreter has been Lensa Odingo. Thank you so much for creating time for us. I'll see you another time. I'll be coming back for the lunchtime news, so stay for that and continue enjoying the rest of your viewing.
Tonight on KBC Channel 1. on the next episode of
hivyo. Yaani hata natamani asirudi kabisa.
Tizame basi, mimi nikikuchukua wewe, yeye hawezi kufanya lolote.
Jamani, Mungu amshari wewe.
Fanya hivi. Jifiche. Hapana, sitajificha wewe.
Afadhali nakuomba. Jifiche hapa.
Akuje tumenyana.
Fanya hivi, sikiza bwana.
Wafanyani.
Navangua mume wangu.
The sudden death of Tanzania's fifth president, Dr. John Pombe Magufuli, brings to a sudden close a reign of Africa's modern-day patriots and celebrated nationalists. John Pombe Joseph Magufuli was born on the 29th of October 1959 in Chato, in what was then British-ruled Tanganyika. His parents were poor farmers. After attaining his basic education, he trained as a teacher at Mkwawa College of Education in Iringa, central Tanzania. Magufuli then obtained a degree in education from the University of Dar es Salaam in 1988 with a concentration in chemistry and mathematics. He taught several schools for years, and his official biography says he had master's and doctoral degrees in chemistry. The following year, he was employed as an industrial chemist at Nyaza Cooperative, remaining there until 1995. He then ran for the Chato parliamentary seat, which he won. In 1995, President Benjamin Mkapa, who passed away in 2020, appointed him Deputy Minister for Works, Transport and Communication. Magufuli drove an ambitious road building project, earning him the nickname the Bulldozer, in reference to the construction program he implemented.
In 1961, the issue of infrastructure, it was very bad. We used to have only 1,300 kilometers tarmac road. Now we have more than 6,500 kilometers.